Hi, Lenny, speaking with the All Chat Podcast. I'm here with
Nick
and Tanner
and Ryan.
So we decided to start a new podcast together as a group of friends. Right now, the name is All Chat Podcast. We don't have a group name, but we're going to figure it out from here.
It's a placeholder, basically. We've discussed this for like 2 hours now, and we still haven't figured it out. So this is what we got.
But the purpose of the podcast, we're going to be talking about all things gaming, past, present, future, our opinion on them, gaming news, whatever might come up in regards of gaming.
And we're going to just talk about how we feel about all that stuff, so you get to hear our opinions whether you want to or not.
And we're all friends at the beginning. We've actually played video games together for a long time.
And that's kind of why we're doing this together, because we've all played games together, we've had fun doing it, and it just kind of makes sense because we know each other and play games together. We kind of know how each other work, how each other thinks, so it just makes sense to kind of do a podcast together. Hopefully we're going to have different opinions on things. I think we will. I know not all of us like the same things, so it's going to be more of a discussion, and I'll play devil's advocate if we don't, because I think it's important to have a different, every opinion kind of present in a way. That way we don't
and we do want to throw some drama in there, because who couldn't resist that?
Well, there's nobody.
If everyone doesn't agree with what I think, I will jail you all.
Okay. Well, we will be looking forward to that then.
And I think centered around gaming is important, though I think that might not necessarily only be video games. I think at the beginning it will be, but that's not necessarily confining us to just video games.
No, of course not. No.
I think all of us like other kinds of games, like board games, stuff like that. So if at some point we find one that we enjoy, and this could even bleed a little bit into media in general, like movies and things. I don't know that we're going to go super into that. We're no movie critics or anything, but I think that they tie in because it's all media. So I think our main focus is always going to be video games, but there's definitely going to be ties into other sources of media and other forms of entertainment, because that kind of what makes gaming today.
I think movies are stupid.
Okay, well, that's Ryan's opinion. Now the drama is coming in.
He doesn't even think that. He's just being annoying.
well, I'm glad you said that we won't just be talking about video games, because I do plan on bringing my dad in on this podcast at some point, because he's been a big gamer most of his life. But he also grew up playing games like Dungeons & Dragons and stuff like that. I would also like to talk about that on this podcast. In fact, I've even considered doing a podcast specifically about a D&D campaign. But of course, let's do one thing at a time.
I wish my dad would have stayed in my life.
My dad's
also not true. All of us.
Our dads are all in our lives.
I'll give you a little hint as to our lives. We all grew up in pretty vanilla families, I would say.
Yeah, that gives you an indication.
I'm only half white.
Actually, yeah.
Well, that's true.
We do have a little bit of diversity in here. So
yeah, we got
a part Peruvian. So
yeah.
So wait, half. So he's half Peruvian, and there's 4 of us. So what's the actual percentage there?
1/8 Peruvian.
1/8 Peruvian of this podcast.
This podcast is 1/8 Peruvian. If that helps you listen better, then
I'm also French Canadian.
He had to throw in his French accent. I knew he was going to do that.
He actually did live in Canada.
That's true. He did.
For a small time.
So each podcast, I think we're going to have like a central focus. We are going to have other topics during it, but we're going to have one main focus each time. But I think it's always great to begin with what we're playing now. That way we kind of get that out there and you guys get a feel for what we're actually doing and kind of what we think about those. We're not going to spend a huge amount of time because we're going to say it pretty much every time, and that might not change a lot. But I think it's going to help the rest of the discussion, which is going to go into our history with games and just kind of how that's made us the gamers we are today in a form. So, Tanner, what kind of games are you playing right now?
Okay, so I play a lot of Heroes of the Storm. That's actually my go-to game right now. But then, when I play with my wife, we actually have been getting into Minecraft. Definitely a late bloomer into Minecraft. People were into it years ago. We're just now getting into it, so we're learning a lot. When we do stream our games, our gameplays, some people come into our stream, they ask us what we're doing, and we end up asking them what we should do because they know more than us. It's kind of embarrassing, but that's kind of what I've been doing lately. A lot of Heroes of the Storm and Minecraft. Nick, how about you?
Sorry, I had to send a text. So right now I've actually been playing a lot of Rocket League. which I didn't play it for a while, but I just recently got back into it because it's a game I really want to stream. I don't know what it is about Rocket League. You guys know what Rocket League is, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
I actually played it a little bit ago.
Oh, nice.
And I'm terrible every time.
Okay, so well, Tanner does not.
I played it for 5 minutes once on Ryan's Xbox, but I have played Lucio Ball, which is similar.
But it's not as good as Rocket League.
Yeah.
But I really like the game. I don't know what it is. It's just having a cool car and just driving around, hitting the ball into the goal. It's just really, I guess, therapeutic in a way. But I also want to play it competitively. I've been trying to practice. I did some practice runs today.
Wait, so it's therapeutic for you to get behind the wheel of the car and drive super fast.
The game frustrates me so much. Like, sucks so bad.
Should we trust you?
Nah, Tanner.
to drive?
Tanner, it's
Just wait
okay.
till you try playing against Jonah, my friend Jonah. Oh my goodness. He told me the other day he beat someone 42-0.
42-0?
Yeah.
As in 4-2?
Yeah, as in 4-2.
That game probably lasted like 15 minutes, maybe longer.
Also known as 42.
42.
Oh yeah, we also, some of us know Spanish, well 2 of them.
For
know
those
Spanish.
1/8 of Peruvians that are listening in.
Because that's that. So you do a lot of Rocket League and streaming it as well, right?
Yeah, I'm starting to stream it. It's a super fun game, and I hope to get really good at it so that I can get kind of a bigger streaming base. But one of the most frustrating things about Rocket League though is the controls are so, I don't want to say wonky, but finicky. That's a good word for it. Because you have to be really precise, especially when you're boosting in the air. Because if you don't, you could literally tilt the control stick like an inch the wrong way and you completely screw up your shot. So it's just a very physics-based game. But honestly, I have a blast with it, whether I'm trash or not. So I'm just going to keep playing it.
So, I've been playing a lot of games. Again, my name's Keefin. I've been playing a lot of different games. Recently, I haven't found a game that I'm super into. I do that from time to time. Like, I'll play Skyrim again. It'll just draw me in for just weeks at a time. But right now, I'd say mostly I'm playing League of Legends. I wouldn't say I'm great. I do stream from time to time. I made gold, so I'm average.
He's better than us. He says he's not great. He's greatest for us.
But it's fun. It's very aggravating as well, mostly because the community's pretty awful.
Yeah.
But, I mean, if
really
you can ignore them and play with friends, it's actually like a super fun game. But also, I've been playing a lot of Rainbow Six Siege on my Xbox. Also been playing I do play Rocket League from time to time, and I'm awful. I recently beat Super Hot. It was one of the free games with gold. So that was a really fun game. It's really different. I know that's a pretty old game, and that's not really new news, but it was pretty fun. I enjoyed it a lot. And other than that, I played some PUBG and Fortnite. I'm not really good at any game. I just kind of like to play them and enjoy them as I go. I have quite a few different games, a lot of them just the free ones, but yeah, I do enjoy playing a lot of games, and I do stream them from time to time as well. And hopefully we can do some Let's Plays together with games that we find entertaining as a group, and that'll probably come in the future, but yeah, that's kind of what I've been doing.
Okay, Keefin, before we go on, I have to ask you, PUBG or Fortnite, which is better?
So they're both good for different reasons. I think the benefit to Fortnite is free, so anyone can just jump right in, which is a huge benefit. Also, it does have the building aspect, which completely changes it as a game. PUBG is a little more realistic, it's a little more gritty, and you have vehicles, which I think is something that's really good to have in. And it also has something that's kind of bugged me about Fortnite is the water's never very deep, and it just kind of makes you slow. And in PUBG, it actually is like a thing. It's another obstacle in addition to anything else, like a mountain. So obviously, Fortnite's more cartoony and PUBG's more realistic, but I think they both have their benefits. I would say if you like realistic, kind of gritty shooters, that PUBG is going to be your bread and butter. If you like more cartoony, just fun, kind of out there games, then you're going to like Fortnite more. Also, forgot, one of the games that I've been playing is Sea of Thieves. I really love it. It has a huge lack of content right now, and I'm really hoping they add some really good stuff. And it's kind of been a problem with that lack of content because not all of the friends that I have want to play it at the same time as me, so I can't play it as much as I would like. Because it's really, it's so much more fun to play with people. You can just mess around and create your own like storylines and just mess around completely, which I find really fascinating, and I love the water, and it's just really fun, but if you don't have friends, it just loses that appeal. So hopefully they add in a lot of stuff, that way I can kind of get back into it with my friends. But yeah, that's the other big game that I've really enjoyed recently.
And I'm Ryan, I'm here to pump you up! I'm just kidding, no. So I play a lot of... Sorry guys, I can help it. So I play a little bit of everything. I play a little bit of League. Lately I've been focusing more on heroes. I started a Smurf account recently. I got that one to gold. So
he's also better than us.
Even though I'm not gold, I think I'm better than him.
No,
Drama.
We'll have to let our viewers decide that.
Yeah,
well, we'll have to stream some games and see which person plays better.
We'll go head to head.
Yeah. So Heroes of the Storm. I've been playing some Sea of Thieves as well. Rocket League, Minecraft. I play a little bit of everything. I don't stream anything. I've kind of let that fall to everyone else.
Even though Ryan has the best computer out of all of us, considering I built it for him and all that, but
Yeah, but I like Heroes a little more than League just because the community is a little better as of right now, and I like the diversity in the kinds of games that you can play versus League, which League has been improving on lately, but I still can't get past some of the... Whenever I play League of Legends, I have to play with these guys because I don't like getting screamed at because I'm apparently terrible, so...
Apparently.
It's not apparently.
Hey, I'm the best teamer there is here.
That's also not true.
That's probably not true.
Would you be the best Morgana?
Oh, yeah.
No.
No.
I got to level 30 only playing Morgana.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I didn't play anyone else the entire
I am the best Ashe in the group.
I am the best Sona. Keefin might be better.
But
No.
for the
That's a moot
most
point.
part, Heroes is probably the game I'm most serious about right now. I have played a lot of Sea of Thieves lately with a few work friends. I've played a few times with Keefin. I played once. It's because we work opposite schedules, and it's kind of hard to get me and Keefin on at the same time. Which hopefully isn't going to be too big an issue with this podcast, but I'm really looking forward to seeing how this turns out.
Oh, good. One thing I want to say about all this is, Ryan, Heroes of the Storm, the new Brawl, the one that we played last night.
Yeah.
Do you think we can ever beat it?
For those that don't know what that is, what is the new Brawl?
Okay, so it's called... What is it called?
I don't remember what it's called. It's pretty much a survival.
Okay.
It's basically a survival mode.
We started playing for the first time yesterday, so forgive us.
The Brawl, that is. Not Heroes of the Storm.
Nick, so you did play it too.
I have played it. Yeah, I played it once with Ryan, right?
Oh, yeah you.
We were waiting for someone to get on, and so we played a Brawl. And it's basically a survival mode. You get waves of Zerg from the game StarCraft, and you have to try and defeat them. And I think, do you have to protect something? I think you have to protect.
You have
something.
to protect your base.
You have to protect the base. There's 6 waves. And then the final boss is the Archangel, and that thing is impossible.
Well, as far as we've seen, we haven't been able to get past it. So.
Now, earlier today, I was playing it by myself with a bunch of random people, and we got to the 3rd Archangel.
There's more than one Archangel?
Actually, after the first 2, you go and defeat 2, but then you have the 3rd one, but it's 2 at the same time.
What?
And so you have to defeat them both within that time limit. Now, the time limit is a little longer, and we didn't get past the first one of those 2, and we got back to the base, and we all died, and the people in chat were saying, hey, this is the furthest I've ever got. That was a really good game, and it was the furthest I ever got, but it makes me wonder, has anyone ever beat it? We got to figure it out.
And I'm going to say that the answer is probably a definite yes, because, again, like I mentioned before, for me, but I'm going to blanket statement this, we're not the best at any of the games we play.
Definitely not.
There are definitely millions of people who are, well, not millions.
I'm pretty...
Definitely
a lot of people, well, maybe in League of Legends, because a lot of people play that game, but there are a lot of people who are better at us than probably every single game that we can choose, so I don't think we're bad at any. I wouldn't... No. That's not true. I'm definitely bad at some games. I wouldn't say any of the games I play a lot I'm necessarily awful at, but I'm also not an expert at any of these games. I think everyone here would agree with that.
Yeah.
For themselves. I wouldn't say that we're experts or play enough of any.
But I will say that I'm the best Super Smash Brothers player in this group, and it's pretty much a fact.
That's going to be a fight between Ryan and Nick.
I mean, no,
I don't know.
It's not. There's no contest here.
I can say I suck, and I'm like only halfway decent. So if I can trick them into fighting each other, I might win.
If I can get
So that's pretty much.
let's get me and Ryan in a coin battle.
No,
and he will lose. No matter what happens in the game, he will lose. It actually almost ruined our friendship, didn't it?
The silence speaks
Ryan,
volumes.
Weren't you legitimately actually mad at me?
I plead the fifth.
He pleads the fifth, so yes.
So yeah, he was.
But, yeah, let's take a move on from what we're playing because we're going to revisit this every time. So let's move on to the actual topic of the day that is going to just deal kind of with our history and just who we are as gamers, essentially. So what was our first consoles? What were our first games? And let's kind of move on from there. I didn't actually get a console until the 360. That was
Really?
my first console. So I did play some computer games. Age of Empires 2, which I also forgot I'm playing now a lot because it's just awesome on Steam. Anyways,
Yes, it is.
I played like some computer games here and there, but my parents weren't big video game people. In fact, they didn't want me to have a video game at all. A video game, I'm like an old person. They didn't want me to have any kind of video games. They just figured it would just keep me inside all day. So I didn't have one until the 360, and I had to buy that with my own money. And once I did, my dad immediately joined in and bought Call of Duty 2, and he loved it because he's a history major. So immediately he would jump on the bandwagon of playing it. But yeah, my family, not big gamers. It's really just me and maybe my younger sister Lachlan. She kind of does it from time to time, but it's really just me. So I did play other people. So I played Crash Team Racing. I played some
Never played Crash
Spyro.
Bandicoot.
I did. Crash
That is
Bandicoot.
bad. It is.
Oh, is that what?
Yeah, it's the only other Crash there is. So yeah, I played some of those really old games with some of my friends, but I'd have to go to their house. There was never something that I was directly owned the console for. So my history with gaming is playing it with friends. So that's actually something that I really miss is local like split screen. A lot of games have kind of gotten rid of that, and that's something I really miss from my history is being able to just kind of chill with friends on the same couch and enjoy a good game where you can look at each other's eyes and see the hatred burn after you kill them.
After a coin battle.
After
After a coin battle.
Or after 007, because I'm actually going to go second. I actually need to get going soon. But my first console was an N64 that my cousins gave to me. And one of my favorite games was 007 GoldenEye. And I did not find anyone that could beat me at that game. I didn't lose any friends playing it, but all my friends stopped wanting to play me in it because of how
I
good
still
I
don't
was
want to
at
play
it.
with you. Yeah.
But then my second
Okay.
my second console was
We're a professional podcast.
I got a Game Boy 64. My parents sent me and my sister to
Wait, did you say Game Boy 64?
Game Boy 64. I'm
What
old.
is
I
that?
forgot. I meant a Game Boy Color. I meant a Game Boy Color. Anyway, so my
Those fancy little Game Boy 64.
I didn't even know what they were called back then. So
Anyways.
yeah, so Game Boy Color because my parents got it for me and my sister when we were.
What games?
I got my very first game was Pokemon Gold on that. So
Oh, not
Luigi
yellow.
is better. But, you know.
well, no, I had the color, the yellow.
I had a Game Boy Color. That was the one thing I did buy. I had a Mario 64 and I had a Game Boy.
Mario.
Game Boy Yellow.
Mario.
Game Boy. A yellow Game Boy.
You can kinda,
Wow, I'm
kinda
Can
hear
you tell how old these
Pokemon
guys are?
Yellow. Pokemon Yellow. Those are the only two games I ever had, and I still have. And I
And
found my Game Boy Color
and you still
recently
play.
and played some Mario 64 on it, or whatever game. Mario Brothers. I don't
Mario
know.
64.
You ruined me. Anyways, continue with your history.
Yeah, so
Mario.
I also missed the whole sitting next to your friends and watching as you destroy them. That's something that obviously we don't get to see as much because now there's a lot of online gaming, and especially now since we're a bit older, we all have jobs. Half of us are married. There's not as much time to meet up like this to play games like that. But then my third console actually was a Sega Genesis. I kind of downgraded.
Yeah. I'll get back on that.
That is a downgrade.
I mean, we still have the 64, but one of our family friends gave us a Genesis, and that was pretty fun. I liked playing Sonic on it, and we also had a very cheesy Batman game on it that I never really quite understood. It was kind of like a side-scrolling Mortal Kombat. It was kind of fun. But then I got to a PS2 because my cousins gave most of my systems when I grew up were given to me because my parents never really liked buying that kind of stuff. So
Both you and Keefin grew up with parents not wanting you to play, but now you play all the time.
Yeah, now we play.
You got to make up for it.
Yeah.
And now you have a gaming podcast.
And I have money now.
Yeah,
Money helps.
That helps.
Money also does help. So I guess it's more in my past. Now I mostly just play on PC or Xbox One. Hopefully I'll be getting well, I've been thinking about getting a Switch. I'm not entirely sure if I should or not.
I said I was going to, and then I said Ryan should also get one. So I think if Nick already has one,
yes,
if Keefin gets one, and Ryan gets one, and then we convince Tanner to.
Yep, I'll be the fourth one, I guess.
Yeah. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I'm just online gaming when I have the time and playing with these guys mostly.
All right. So on the note of Sega Genesis, that was actually my first console I ever had. I actually had it as long as I remember. I don't remember getting my first console. So yeah, my parents actually loved me playing video games. Just kidding, they don't like it. But we still had them for some reason. Yeah, so I grew up playing a lot of Sonic, the cheesy Batman game. I also played that one as well. A lot of Power Rangers on the Sega Genesis. And then eventually went to the Nintendo 64. Had that forever. The N64 kind of ruled video gaming for like 5+ years. It was a while before, the PlayStation 2 and the Xbox came out to actually kind of replace that, and then they had to upgrade to the GameCube and stuff like that. So then I did eventually get a PlayStation 2, which I did buy with my brothers.
I thought you were going to say with your brother's money.
With my
I stole my brother's lunch money on PlayStation 2.
They just stole their lunch money every day for like a year, and then like
And then I got a PlayStation 2. That's exactly what happened.
they never ate lunch, and they still don't know what happened. But no, with my brothers, we just bought the PlayStation. Played a lot of Final Fantasy and Kingdom Hearts.
I've never played Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah, me neither.
Kingdom Hearts.
Kingdom Hearts is way fun.
Yeah, so me and Ryan can talk about Kingdom Hearts, and we'll eventually try to get these guys to play.
So you guys can have your own podcast. Just kidding.
Well, and I actually have not bought another console since the PlayStation 2.
Really?
Well, I guess, okay, I haven't bought any. My parents did buy a Wii, which I then took from them, and now I have it. Because they don't play it.
So again, with the stealing, as we learned, if we learn anything
stealing.
from Cannon Fast, is
So Ryan gets
stealing.
consoles for free. Tanner steals them.
Mhm.
Keefin buys it with his own money like a good person. And then you'll get to talk about me next. But we'll wait for that.
Yeah, and I did buy parts to build my own PC, and now I play on that. Kind of the whole Master Race thing going on.
PC Master Race?
Yeah.
Yeah.
going on at my place. So I don't really play on console almost ever. The only time I do is when I'm playing with these guys, and then we have those nights that we had long ago where we play split screen and stuff like that. But it still doesn't happen too much. But I mean, I think remember when we played like Halo, and we played the 4-player split screen, and you're like trying to see.
Have we all played Mario Party?
Of course we have, right?
The new one?
No, just like
in
on the
general.
Wii.
Together, I don't think we
Together.
have.
Let's do that.
But that reminds me, so Achievement Hunter, I've been talking about them a lot because I love Rooster Teeth, but they did an entire Mario Party March.
What?
So they just had, every week they release a Mario Party.
Oh,
They just
wow.
them playing together. And now they're doing Mario Kart April.
So they're going to keep it going, basically.
They're just going to do a bunch of those. Oh, just before Nick goes, I do want to give a little history about when I got my first console.
Did you mean Ryan?
Yeah.
No, before you go.
Before you go.
Before I talk. Gotcha.
Sorry.
Yeah,
That
that's
was
okay.
my confusing. So I got the 360 a couple months probably after it came out. So either late 2005 or early 2006.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to turn 27 this month. So that was my first console I owned.
Huh.
So yeah, I grew up essentially kind of without that in a lot of ways, only going to friends' house for it. So yeah, that's just a little history. I was quite a bit older when I got my first one.
Huh. Well, my history is interesting. So, I'm an only child. Parents didn't have any other children. So, you can imagine that where all my game systems came from.
You didn't have brothers to steal them from.
No, I didn't. I didn't have brothers' lunch money to steal. People did not give me stuff for free, except for my parents. They gave me everything for free. So, my mommy and my daddy bought me all my consoles. But the earliest gaming memory I have was watching my dad play The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time on the N64. The Nintendo 64, not the Mario 64 or the Game Boy 64. The Nintendo 64. And that's why I'm one of the biggest Zelda fans that I know today. These guys can attest to my Zelda hat, how many Zelda games I own, how many Zelda shirts I own.
He probably has a Zelda tattoo.
How my...
Yeah, he does.
I probably would if I had a tattoo.
He has a Zelda body pillow.
No, that's not true. No, guys, I have a Link body pillow. Not
okay.
Come on.
Much like Zelda would have been better, but whatever.
Yeah, exactly. No, I was kidding about that too, by the way. Agora. It's just this round shaped body pillow. It's just this big round shape.
Oh man.
Anyways.
Anyways.
But anyways, so what I was saying, so the N64 was the first thing that I had, and I watched my dad play it for a time, and that's how I became a huge Zelda fan. Keefin's doing a weird thing. But anyway, so after the N64, my dad did not play PlayStation growing up. He's showing us a picture of Goron.
I didn't know what Goron was.
Keefin has seen a picture of a Goron, and now he's really turned on.
Also, that looks like a really good pillow, I'm not going to lie.
Actually, it probably would be one of the best Zelda body pillows.
It's cushy.
But, yeah.
We need
Let's be honest, someone out there does have one.
If they don't, we need to trademark it.
Do we now?
Yeah. Yep.
Anyways, so my dad was not a PlayStation guy, so I never had the PS2, never had the PS3 or the PS1. So I grew up playing the Xbox and the Nintendo consoles and the PC. So my dad then got an original Xbox. Actually, I got a GameCube and then the Xbox. So on the GameCube, I played, Super Smash Bros. Melee. My friends and I played that a lot, and that's how I got good at the game and why I'm better than everybody else in this room at that game.
No.
And I played other games, like I had this Incredibles game. You know The Incredibles, the Pixar movie?
I've never heard of it.
Never heard of it.
Which, there's a sequel coming out this June.
That's pretty good.
I don't know why I'm advertising it, because it doesn't need to be advertised, but...
Not sponsored by...
not sponsored by Pixar or
by
Disney.
Incredibles.
But I played that game a lot, too, on my GameCube, and I also...
But we would, if you want to.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you want to send us a little extra cash to advertise.
Yeah. Go see The Incredibles 2. Give me that paycheck right now, so we can go buy a new microphone and a better setup.
We're unabashedly sellouts.
Unabashedly, yeah, that's right. But that's most of what I played on the GameCube was Super Smash Brothers. And then came the Xbox. My favorite game on the original Xbox was Star Wars Republic Commando. Have any of you heard of this game?
I've
heard of it, but I haven't played it.
It is one of the best games ever made, hands down.
I bet not anymore.
So you're a clone. You're a clone squad, right? And you have to go do all. You have to infiltrate you start on Geonosis and then you end in Kashyyyk, and it has like this incredible ending that I'm not going to spoil. But it was just one of those squad games that was just so fun to me.
Here's a question I have about Star Wars games. Is there any other movie franchise or gaming franchise out there that has produced more video games than Star Wars?
Probably not, honestly. Maybe Pokemon?
What about Tomb Raider?
No.
Because Star Wars has been
Tomb
coming
Raider
out
does have a lot of
ever since the
games.
NES.
Also, the Tomb Raider games.
Yeah, Star Wars has been around for a really
amazing.
long time. Yeah, Star Wars came out when gaming first started.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I remember when, the Windows 95, I was playing a Star Wars game on that.
Yeah.
A long time ago.
Yeah.
That's before, you were born.
Yeah, I remember
I was born at the beginning of 96.
Okay, so you were playing.
I had like a Rogue Squadron game on the Windows 95.
Oh, yeah.
Star Wars.
There was also a Rogue Squadron game in the N64 and the GameCube. So, but yeah, I'd say probably Star Wars or Pokemon would be my guess on that. Could be totally wrong about that, but that's something I'm going to Google later, probably, because I'm really curious. But anyway, back to what I was saying. So, Star Wars Republic Commando, one of the best games on the Xbox. And then we got a Wii, because every single person in the world had a Wii.
Except for me.
Grandma. Oh, you did? You never had a Wii?
No, I've actually never owned any Nintendo console. Not because I'm against Nintendo.
I thought you had a Game Boy 64.
Yeah.
Besides the Game Boy.
Or the Mario 64. Which
Besides
was a
the
real
Game
game,
Boy.
by the way. The Mario 64 is a real game. It was on the N64.
It's not the one I had.
It's not the one that you
Definitely not.
But so you never had a Wii?
No, so I never owned any. I've never owned a PlayStation. I've never owned a Nintendo console. I've only ever owned PCs and Xboxes. Not because I don't want the other ones, but I just don't have time.
Yeah,
when I was younger, when I had time, I didn't have the money.
Yeah.
And I had to buy them. So definitely it was like 360 for basically all time until I got my Xbox One, and then now I have an Xbox One X. But I just don't have even a lot of time to play what I have now. So yeah,
No,
I've never had a Wii.
It's a real problem.
But I do want to
Switch.
Switch.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
yeah,
have enough money
no
and
time.
no time.
But yeah,
being an adult, right?
I did not do anything on the Wii.
We need to retire next week. Jeez.
Yeah, I'll just stop.
We're
right
old
now.
enough to do it.
I'm gonna go retire and play my Game Boy 64.
Okay, speaking of old men voices, can you imagine what assisted living homes will be like in the future, like our generation?
yeah.
How we will have LAN parties, hopefully. Our reflexes might not be as good, but I imagine...
We'll be playing Overwatch. And
Yeah, I imagine
the
assisted living
500
centers
they're gonna have.
or senior home centers will be better than they are now. Like,
No,
I mean,
they'll
I
come
have to
equipped
believe.
with computers and Xboxes or PlayStations or the PlayStation 10 by that time.
Yeah.
But I feel like we never finished. What was your history? So moving on from
Yeah.
Rogue
Oh,
Squadron.
it's okay. But yeah, so I played Rogue Squadron on the GameCube. Talked about Republic Commando. Then I had the Wii. I mostly just played Legends of Zelda Skyward Sword, Super Smash Bros. Brawl, and Wii Sports, because that's basically all I played on the Wii. But after the Wii, I got a Wii U. I'm one of the 5 people on Earth that has a Wii U. By the way, it's Nintendo's worst-selling console of all time.
It's terrible.
But we'll talk about
I
that for
thought
a
they
different
had like a
time.
virtual
Nintendo,
reality
you can still
one.
sponsor us
Well,
if you want to.
Yeah, we love you, Nintendo.
Just not the Wii U.
But yeah, it's not the Wii U. But the Virtual Boy did do worse. But we'll talk about that's another topic for another time. But I was one of the 5 people that had a Wii U, and I played the Super Smash Bros. 4 and a couple of other games on it. But I pretty much only bought it for Smash Brothers. I'm guilty of that because I love Super Smash Bros. It's probably my favorite gaming franchise of all
Fanboy.
time. Yeah, hashtag not fanboys. Got that from another podcast. They say that a lot.
Uh-oh.
What? Do you need to go, Ryan?
Yeah.
Alright, so
Hey,
Ryan,
it's okay. Don't worry about it.
Or you should, but
So Ryan's gonna head out for now, but don't worry.
Say goodbye, Ryan.
oh my god.
On future podcasts, Ryan will
Not be
stay
here.
on. No,
Or he'll stay.
He'll stay the whole time. But anyway, as I was saying, so then I had the Wii U, and now I have. Well, I didn't. I used to have an Xbox One, but now I have the PlayStation 4, Nintendo Switch, I have a 3DS. I've basically owned every Nintendo console, but that's pretty much my gaming history. I just played a lot of Nintendo games, a few things on the Xbox. Played a crap ton of World of Warcraft. I played World of Warcraft on and off for like 10 years now.
Never
on
used
PC.
that game.
Me
I did a
neither.
demo of it for like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And I hated it.
I hated it too.
It's not for everybody. MMOs in general aren't for everybody,
It's fair.
but
No.
I loved it. So
I mean, there are some MMOs like Minecraft.
that's not an MMO.
Ah,
I mean,
It's
it's
not
a
really.
massively,
I would say
massively
I would
multiplayer
say
online game.
yes.
I would say
Okay.
PUBG is.
I guess it is an MMO. World of Warcraft is an MMORPG,
Yeah.
Very different.
so
Yeah.
that's the difference. Played a lot of that, and now I just play now I play League of Legends, Heroes of the Storm, and Overwatch on my PC after I built my PC recently. So actually it was a year ago, but I'm upgrading it soon. So
So
that's
Keefin's the only one that doesn't have a gaming desktop setup. Which do you want to get?
I would, I just don't have the room. I've
Right
actually
now,
been
you
wanting to
don't.
for a long time, but while I'm in college right now, yeah, I'm old in college, it happens. So I have a good laptop though. It's good enough to play most of those games regardless at a pretty good graphical setting. So I'm not too worried about it right now. A laptop's convenient for me at the moment, so I do plan on getting a desktop. I'm not PC master race. I think there's benefits to everything, and in fact, I think a lot of PC ports are awful. Because they're optimized for consoles and they just do terribly on PC because they just don't care half the time.
Seems
But
that
that kind of, I think that's a good transition into the state of gaming today. So something I found interesting that we talked about earlier was the fact that there's not a lot of split screen anymore.
Mhm.
And I've been thinking about that a lot recently because I do miss it. But then every time I miss it, I think, when would I even have the time to get together with my friends and do that? Very rarely. And a lot of times, those kind of games I can go back and play anyways. But most of the time, we play online now.
Yeah.
So really, the state of gaming has moved in a direction that's beneficial for a lot of us because online is what we have the money to do, and it's the best way for us to hang out because we don't have the time to always drive to each other's places.
Yeah.
And we don't live right next door because we're not kids anymore. We can't bicycle to
Yeah.
our friend's house.
I mean, I could, but
ask to play.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely is a convenience factor. It's like I get home from work, and I'm 3 cities away. but then all of us can still get on and play at the same time. I remember one time we were actually all together at Ryan's house, and we were trying to play League of Legends, and we had our different laptops there, but one of them wasn't working. And Nick, I think you were there, and the only way we would have been able to play together is if Nick went home. He went away from us, so we could actually play video games together. And when that happened, it really made me think of the direction that online gaming has gone. And it does make me wonder, like kids today in elementary school and junior high, when we would do just what we were saying, would have sleepovers and play split screen Mario Kart all night,
or Halo,
whatever it might be.
Call of Duty.
Both.
Yeah, do the kids today still do that, or do they stay at home and they play just together into the night?
I think another big difference though is we have to have good internet nowadays.
That's fair.
So I mean, back when I was a kid, there wasn't even internet for basically a little while. When I was a kid, and it was dial-up, which atrocious.
Yeah.
And then growing up, didn't really make a lot of sense. Like we would actually do a thing where we'd go to my friend's house and we'd actually play some single-player games that we'd trade off. So we'd do a lot of Roller Coaster Tycoon 2. And we would switch off playing, and then the other people would be outside jumping on a tramp, or like watching a TV show or something like that. But we'd switch off. Or there was another game called The Guild 2, which probably none of you have heard of.
No,
never heard of it.
But a real fun game, and we'd play a lot of that. But sometimes we'd be watching each other. But that was kind of another way that we kind of got around the single player only thing. But I mean, a lot of kids, kind of like I mentioned before, they don't have a lot of money, and a lot of the games they might have might be ones that do have split screen, like Minecraft. Well, everyone owns Minecraft. So
that's true.
Kids can play that split screen.
Well,
it
does make me think, about the state of gaming, as far as money. For example, like League of Legends is free.
Yeah.
Fortnite is free, but again, it's
HOTS is free.
Yeah. Heroes of the Storm is free. It's and they can make their money off of skins or loot boxes or whatever. But then obviously they may need the correct, the right kind of computer to play it, but it's still, even if they don't have money, they can play these games, but they won't be playing them together in the same room with their friends. They'll be playing them at home. And
different generation.
Yeah, different generation. And
so Nick, I mean, you kind of grew up in like the transition from those things, because Tanner and I are older, so we kind of. It was more gradual for us, but you kind of more grew up with the internet, right?
A little bit, yeah. I guess I like to think of being born in the mid-90s as like the bridge between two different generations, I guess. Like, there's the 90s kids who always brag about being 90s kids, and they're like, oh, back then, we had I've seen pictures of like these weird candies they used to have back then, and there's all the 90s cartoons that they always talk about. The Walkman
player,
the tape player.
Tapes.
I did have a CD player. When I was
Tamagotchi.
The Tamagotchis.
Tamagotchis.
Mm-hmm. And they also talk about the Game Boys and the Game Boy Colors. My first Game Boy was the Game Boy Advance, by the way.
Keefin, did you ever have Pogs?
I never had a Pog, no.
I actually don't know what that is.
You don't know?
I know what they are.
Okay, at least Keefin knows. Nick does not. I'm gonna pull it up for you, Nick.
Wait, is it a food or what is it?
No,
it's like
is it a food?
It's a toy.
Yeah, it's.
I don't know what they're talking about. Did it come out when I was born in '96 or something like that? Oh, Pog. I thought you said Pod.
No, POG.
POG.
Pogs. Still, do you know?
No.
Okay.
They're like those little flip things.
Yeah, they're like.
They have them now.
They still exist.
Your phone needs to be faster.
Oh, I need to connect to the internet. You see these?
Those things?
Yeah. You ever seen them before in your life?
What are they?
So what we're looking at is like a circular little toy where you
would
put them on the ground.
Yeah. And you would stack a bunch of them together.
And you throw.
Yeah, you'd throw the main Pog, like
a little fatter.
Yeah, it was just thicker, it was fatter. It was like your main, and it was a collectible. It was kind of like trading cards where you would buy a pack.
They had different images on them.
Yeah, and you'd see which ones you'd get, and each one would have a rare one, and that would be your main throwing Pog. And what you would do is you'd throw them down on the other ones, and you could see how many of the other ones you'd get to flip over. and the ones that you'd flip over, you'd get a keep, and then the next person would go.
So very similar to marbles, which I played a lot more of.
See, I know what that is. I know what marbles are.
I have a bunch of marbles. I found them recently, and I was so happy. But I would say it's a very similar idea in a way. Like, you have your main marble that you have to shoot, and anyways, past that is I think that Nick kind of bridged that gap where you could see the remnants of some of those things. Yeah. But then when he was younger, he actually had a lot more. Like,
well, yeah, I played split screen games growing up. Obviously, I played, Call of Duty. I played whatever other split screen games, the Halos, whatever games are split screen, Mario Kart. Smash Bros. Was never split screen because it doesn't work like that. But I definitely know the split screen era, and I am that bridge between worlds. But going back to like today, I think the Nintendo Switch is kind of, in a way, starting to bring back split screen, kind of. Because, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is split screen on there. You can play Rocket League split screen on the Switch.
I mean, you can do that on Xbox.
I mean, you can do that on Xbox too, but, the whole Nintendo Switch gimmick where it has the two Joy-Cons, so you have two controllers all the time, and you can play split screen anywhere with a friend. I think, in a way, it's bringing it back, but at the same time, a lot of people would rather just be on their own Switch. Those screens are tiny, man. I don't know why people are like, oh, I want to play split screen on a 6-inch tiny screen, Mario Kart, so I have to literally that's not my mic's not gonna pick me up if I do that. But I have to put my face against the screen and try to look at what I'm doing. I played 3-player split screen on my Switch's screen, 6-inch screen with Mario Kart with my friends. Horrible experience. Don't recommend it.
Well, another big change to video games though is the graphics.
Well, yeah.
And the things that they can add. So. Sadly, I've never played a Zelda game. I really love the new Zelda. I've played little bits of it, and that's actually probably the main reason I want to Switch is for the new Zelda game because it's amazing. Mm-hmm. But if you compare that to old Zelda games, in this new Zelda game, you can actually burn grass, and it will spread and burn. You can chop down trees to bridge gaps. You can climb anything in the game. You can pretty much walk anywhere that you see. And back in the day, 15 years ago, or back when we first started gaming, that wasn't possible in the game.
No, it wasn't. It definitely makes for a different and arguably better gaming experience, if that's what you're looking into. And I remember Xbox was kind of a pioneer in the ultimate video game graphics. When Xbox was coming out, their graphics were better than any other console, and we kind of believed for a while that was always the push, was better graphics, better game. But I think also what's interesting to see in today's gaming are games that don't have good graphics but have good gameplay and can be very addicting. Minecraft, Terraria,
Fortnite.
Doki Doki Literature Club.
Is that really a game though?
That is a game.
It's not a game.
It's a what's it called? It's called
it's a visual novel.
A visual novel. But whatever. But you understand the point here is that Minecraft is a game that its graphics make it look like it could have been made in the 90s, but it wasn't. And despite its bad graphics, quotation marks, the gameplay is still very good, and a lot of people still play it. When we believed for a while that if a game didn't have good graphics, it seemed like the developers didn't care. So that's just a very interesting kind of change to how video games have been developed, to where graphics aren't a sole focus.
Well, I still think today they are still like that now, though. I mean, some people are saying we've reached the peak and graphics really aren't going to get any better.
No.
But I don't really believe that. Because we got the PlayStation 4 Pro and the Xbox One X coming out, which are trying to push, even more graphics and higher resolutions. But I will agree that back then, graphics really blew my mind. I remember playing Star Wars Republic Commando on the Xbox, and I'm like, this game looks amazing. The blood splatters from the Geonosians when I stab them with the knife, and then my visor uses the laser to clean off my character's screen. That just blew my mind as a kid. And that's probably the most violent game I played as a kid, by the way.
Well, now we have games that can do so much more than that.
Doom, the Doom remake, the 2016 Doom. Have you played that?
It's very graphic.
Oh man, that game.
Very fast-paced.
Very fast-paced, very graphic.
But it's amazing to see the changes. I think something interesting as well is a lot of the very popular games have started to stray away from a story.
A little bit.
There's of course those games that don't. There's definitely like The Witcher and games like that, very focused on story.
Legend of Zelda.
But I would say not even Far Cry that much. I mean, that's more of an explosion game with a story addition to it. So I think for a while there, and I could be wrong, I'm no expert, but I think games at first had like one gimmick. So like Pac-Man, you're a little dude going around a screen, collecting little pellets or whatever they are, or Snake where you're trying not to hit your tail. So like games back in the day when they first started had like a gimmick, one thing, and then as they improved, more and more things were added, and like little changes here and there that made people go, wow, like Nick was talking about with like his visor and cleaning it off with the laser and things like that. And then I think story became a huge focus.
Yeah. And
like some kind of campaign. And I think games are kind of starting to shy away a little bit from that idea of needing a single story, a single player storyline, which I think is, I don't know that it's necessarily a bad thing. I mean, for certain games it works really well. Like Overwatch is a huge game. League of Legends is a huge game. And they have zero story to them. They have lore that you can look at.
They have lore,
but that's not the same thing. You have to search that out.
Yeah, exactly. And I think a lot of that probably had to do with the rise of online gaming, because it's harder to do a campaign with an online community. But if you can play with lots of people online, such as League of Legends or World of Warcraft, you're not necessarily going to be pushing a basic storyline, but you're just going to be playing within the realm of the context with your friends. Whether it's go defeat the enemy team's nexus, that's the storyline. And I think online
you create the story.
Yeah,
in a sense. I mean, that's what Sea of Thieves is trying to be. The problem with it is that they didn't have the content there, but they want you to make your own story. But we'll get into that another time.
I mean, really, what they need to add is the one goal, the desire, the thing you're shooting for. Because the games like PUBG, you do the same thing. Game like Heroes of the Storm, game like League of Legends, you do the same thing every game, but it's the way you play that same thing, the way you end it every time is the same. The way you do that is different, and that's what Sea of Thieves is kind of lacking a little bit, I think. But also, not every game can just do multiplayer and succeed. Titanfall 1, which I personally loved. I loved that game. In fact, I bought my Xbox One for that game. I loved it. I played a ton of it. No storyline. People were livid. Overwatch comes out, and no one says a thing. So it's true. It's an interesting thing. Also, Overwatch came out a few years later. So maybe they just hit the proper time right, or maybe it's because it's Blizzard.
Could be.
Who knows? Like, they already have that loyal fan base. And then Titanfall 2 comes out, and because of the first one's reception and the way that EA released it, it didn't do as great as the first one, but it was an entirely better game. Amazing story, probably one of the better shooter stories I've ever played, and it had great multiplayer. But it didn't do great. And then other games like Sunset Overdrive, which is an Xbox exclusive, which is one of my favorite games, is just a single-player story. No multiplayer, also didn't do great. So it's interesting to see. Certain games can do it well. Some games have to have both, but
Call of Duty's had both forever.
Right.
And it's the number one selling game.
There are some franchises that have completely moved away from that, such as Battlefront. Now, Battlefront is a arena multiplayer game, but it still had a campaign in the earlier PlayStation 2 games. But the recent Battlefront games,
It's a terrible story.
I
never played it. That's all hearsay.
It may be a terrible story, but it still had one. Yeah. But you see the two recent Battlefronts, no campaign, no story.
The second one did, because the first one people got pissed, so they added the story into the second one.
Yeah, the second one. It's just that it was really bad, and that's why nobody talks about it. No, I haven't played it.
I thought you were talking about that.
I boycotted that
Battlefront
game,
2
so.
for PlayStation 2.
No.
Oh, okay.
Well, yeah, that one had a story too. But.
Interesting. So yeah, you're right. Where do we think? I mean, especially when it comes to like the rise of VR, where are campaign type games going to be going? Because you can play campaign games with VR, but it's definitely not what they focus on. They focus on what you can do in the game.
So that's not entirely true, actually. Fallout VR is they advertise the whole game as in VR. And Skyrim VR is that you can play the whole game in VR.
And someone actually made an RPG for
VR.
Just VR. I can't remember what it's called right now. But
maybe that's the future.
And if it was a real game that was not VR, from what I hear, it wouldn't be that great. But because it's in VR, it's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's interesting to see. I think the main thing is its gameplay. I think that's kind of what the important factor is in all of this. I don't think that multiplayer, I don't think a good campaign, I don't think a good story, I don't think good graphics alone can make a game good. I think it has to have good gameplay elements that work well together and create a fun time. I think that's what's important. If you can create a good game that's fun to play and it works well, I think it doesn't matter if you create a single player story. I don't think it matters if you create a multiplayer only game. I don't think it matters if you do both. But if you can create a fun game that just makes people happy when they play it and enjoy it and make them keep coming back, I think that's the key to success. I don't think any of those other things alone can make a game good.
Right, like you can't rely on just good graphics to push a game.
Maybe back in the day you could. I remember Crysis 3, that was like his big thing, was amazing graphics. I don't know how well that game sold.
Mm-hmm.
I do know that was like one of their major pushes, and man, did it look good. And it actually still looks pretty dang good.
It holds up today, absolutely.
Now, not a lot of games can hold up to that far.
Yeah.
And nostalgia, kind of switching the entire gears here, is nostalgia also plays a huge factor. So people hated the Battlefront that came out. Back to that topic.
Yeah.
Hated it. And they're like, oh, the old one was so good. I loved the old one. I played a ton of the old one.
Oh, absolutely.
But also, if I were to go back and play that now, I don't think I'd have fun.
Really?
No, I don't think I would, because
you want to put it
so
to the test.
old, it's so slow, you don't have all these new additions to put in the games nowadays, and those changes are huge.
Would you be willing to put it to the test?
I would. I would be willing to put it to the test, record myself playing it, and see what it's like.
I have the original Battlefront on the Xbox.
We could do like a Let's Watch scenario where I'm playing that, and you guys can judge me.
I think that should be one of our first ones.
Absolutely.
All right, now we'll put nostalgia to the test.
Back to our Star Wars Battlefront roots.
If we can get split screen going on with that.
Okay,
that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's kind of like where I think a little bit where gaming is nowadays, without going too deep into all the sales and everything. Because obviously, if we're talking about that, GTA 5 is
the best-selling game.
And I don't even have it.
Yeah.
The reason I didn't get it was because there was no offline multiplayer, which I've recently come to realize, and purchased a bunch that are exactly that same thing, and I've just come to realize that doesn't matter. But also, I need my friends to buy it too, because if my friends don't own it on the same console or PC or the same area as me and it's not crossplay, then I'm probably not going to get the game, because a lot of the games I just want to play with friends.
Yeah, that is a difference. If we're going back to gaming back then and gaming now, is the issues with you may have back then you could have the game and your friends come over and you could all play it, but now you have to have the game, you have to have the console, and your friend also has to have that game and the same console in many different scenarios, and that sometimes makes it hard. Is that there are games that you have that I may have, but you have it on Xbox, may have it on PC, and so we just can't play it.
No, we totally can play Minecraft together.
We
definitely should. We will. But one example of that is that, so my roommates Adam and Ryan have Sea of Thieves, and I think they are planning on buying the full game. But I can't justify that game for $60.
Until it has more content.
And I don't think there's enough content, so I'm not going to buy it.
Though
but then I can't play it
all
with them.
free DLC.
Well, hopefully it's free.
No, they already said it's free.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good. But the point I'm trying to make is that I don't think you can play split screen Sea of Thieves. I don't think that game works like that. So I would have to buy the game, but I'm not going to, so I won't be able to play it with them. Which I think is kind of a downside. I think something needs to change there, because if you buy Mario Kart on the Switch, you can play it with multiple people, even if nobody else has it.
And that's still one reason why I love Super Smash Brothers, because
that game will always be like that.
Yeah, it'll always be like that.
And I would say the Switch is an amazing console, but man, does it have problems, just like every other console.
Yes, but we will talk about that
another time. But yeah, so I think that's a...
Yep.
Well, have we talked through the main topic as much as we want to talk about? Any other final thoughts?
I think that should be a wrap. I think we should just kind of end it there. Thanks for listening to this first podcast.
We hope to do one a week, I think.
Yes.
That's what we're planning on right now.
It's going to be a little bit of a revolving cast. I mean, we saw Ryan leave early. We want to try to keep us main three. So, again, I'm Keefin.
I'm Nick.
And I'm Tanner.
We also hope to do video. I think it's important not only because you guys get to know us like face to voice, which will help
Right.
get you to know us better, but it also adds a little bit more of interest for like the YouTube community. And then once you've learned who we are with our face and our voice, you can kind of just listen to the audio and it doesn't even matter. Once
Right.
you've learned who you are, who people are, you don't need to see them every time.
Because you can see their face.
Yeah,
behind,
so I think that's something we plan on doing in the future.
Also because Nick is eye candy.
We also plan
Thank
on
you for that.
You're
like
welcome.
we mentioned earlier, we plan on improving the quality of the audio.
Yeah.
Hopefully it turns out as well as we worked on it for 2.5 hours. A little behind the scenes, which we might release some of those little recordings because they're pretty funny, some of them
They're
are.
pretty funny.
But yeah, I think that's the future of the podcast is we want to try to do one a week. We're going to have little segments, one main topic that we try to go through. Hopefully, if we end up live streaming it at points, we can have people that chat in.
And we
We
And
can do a
questions,
live
questions.
Q&A. That would be amazing. I'd love that.
So I think that would be great. And obviously, like I mentioned before, once we get everything up and running, we're going to do some gameplay. So that's going to be separate from the podcast. But it's still, we want to try to keep with us as a group. Maybe have guests on from time to time that aren't part of the normal revolving cast, but also have guests. And try to just keep a good discussion. And yeah, I think that's kind of my thoughts.
Is that all you want to say?
No, thanks for listening.
Yep. That's the podcast.
Bye, everyone.